Today we're going to talk about playing high notes on the saxophone. The high notes we're going to work on today are going to be the high D, the high D sharp E flat, the high E, and the high F. Sometimes these notes are referred to as the palm key notes. Okay, the palm key notes are called as such because we're using the keys over here on the side that are basically fit in with your palm of your left hand. So when we play those keys, we're not actually using the palm really. We're actually using more of the knuckles of our fingers when we hold the saxophone. So we'll be using those. And we'll also be using on the right side the top key right here. Okay? All right. So a couple things that happen when we're working on getting high notes to come out is we change some things, and we don't want to change those things. Okay, the first thing you don't want to change is your embouchure. Okay, we want to maintain our embouchure with firm top teeth on the top. You want to make sure that your corners are still pulled in towards the mouthpiece like a drawstring, and then your bottom lip is going to be your cushion. It's going to cushion the reed and make sure it's covering the bottom teeth. Okay. All right, so sometimes when you want to go up to the high notes, you're trying to get those notes and you think that they're so high that I need to like maybe tighten up my embouchure or maybe push my jaw forward. You don't want to do that. We want to maintain the same embouchure that we had in the lower register, okay? All right, the next thing that sometimes happens is that our tongue position doesn't change. Okay, we actually do need to change our tongue position slightly. So we've been playing mostly with our tongue in sort of a ha position, ha, because it's a little bit lower in the back, but not too low. But it's like if you're saying ha, ha when you're playing. As you get higher on the saxophone, I'd say probably after when we get to high, the D, third line D, when we get to about third line D is where you want to start changing that tongue position, maybe making that tongue position just a little bit higher in the back. So I usually think he. I try to get that up just a little bit higher, and that helps me to get everything stretched nice and long when I'm playing those high notes. Okay, you want to have a nice kind of stretch here, and even it helps sometimes to raise up your eyebrows a little bit too, because that helps stretch. One thing we don't want to do is you don't want to scrunch down, okay, because that is going to make everything tight and bring more tension into your playing. So you want to try to have a nice open throat feeling. You want to have it nice and relaxed. You want your tongue position to be high and flexible, and you want to make sure that your embouchure doesn't change. Okay. The other thing is sometimes we just don't get enough air up to the top. Okay. So what I usually do is when I'm going to the upper register like that, I usually try to think a crescendo to the top, even if it doesn't say make a crescendo. I always think when I'm playing my scales, crescendo to the top, crescendo to the bottom. That's going to help me maintain my air stream and make sure that it stays moving very, very fast all the way throughout. So we got this nice big warm air pushing through our saxophone the whole time when we're playing, okay? So again, embouchure, okay, tongue position, right? And our air, okay? Make sure that those things don't change. One more thing to think about too. Don't change your posture or your position, how you're holding the saxophone, okay? So if you're not getting those high notes to come out, okay, don't push the saxophone forward, okay, or don't bring it down, or don't change your body, moving it around and stuff. Still maintain that nice, good posture. Make sure the saxophone comes to you, okay? Make sure your neck strap is high enough so that you're not having to duck down to it, okay? So that's the other thing. All right, so let's try that. I'm going to start on a third line D, and I'm just going to slur up to the first palm key note, which is the high D above the staff. Okay, and as I go up the scale, I'm going to be thinking warm air pushing towards the top, okay? Maintaining my embouchure, not changing that, okay? Nice drawstring, round kind of embouchure. And I'm going to have my tongue position go slightly higher, where I'm going from more of a ha to a he up to the top, okay? All right, so when you first work on this, work on it slurred so that your tongue articulation doesn't get in the way. Always work on things when you're going up to the top or going way down to the bottom without using your tongue at first, because then you can just not have to worry about your throat changing. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start from D in the staff, third line note, up to D above the staff. Okay. to the high D, and I just slurred the D major scale up to the high D and just held it right there. And the whole time when I was thinking ah and yee, and bringing my tongue up as I went, slightly in the back, and pushing my air very fast as I was going to the top of that. Okay, so we're going to try another note now. We're going to try going all the way up to the high F. Okay, so how you play high F, okay, is we're going to play, keep our D down, okay, and then we're going to put the next one on. Actually, before we do the high F, let's just play D, and then we'll do D, E flat, and then we'll do E, where we add the side right key, and then we're going to add the third palm key, which is the F, high F. You maintain keeping this key down as well, okay? The thing about when you're placing your fingers on the high keys, these palm keys, is make sure that you still have your thumb back on the little pad right here, the little pad, and it's going to be at that 1 o'clock position, so you can keep that octave key on, okay? And then your first palm key, you're going to use this part of your finger right here, okay? It's going to be right there, okay? So the D is played with that. The second one, we play the E flat, okay? That one is with this part, okay? So we're using this one right here and this one right here for those two, okay? As we play these keys, we also don't want to let everything kind of fly like this as we do it. We want to make sure we try to keep them curved as best as you can when you're working on this, okay? And then the last one, okay, when you play your high F, okay, you're going to add this knuckle right here, okay? So it's going to be this one, and this one, and this one, okay? These fingers are just going to have to hang out. They're going to try to stay curved in if possible, okay? Try to keep those curved in. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just start on high C, and I'm just going to do a very slow chromatic passage from C up to the high F, and then back down again, okay? Don't forget, when you play high E, you have to also have this key down too. So when you go to that one, you're just going to bring your wrist like this. Don't take your hand out and touch it like that. Keep your thumb underneath the thumb rest, and you're just going to go like that. Just kind of raise like that, because you don't want to have fingers flying for that either. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do just a short chromatic from high C up to F, and then back down to C again. So that was chromatically from C, top C above the staff, to the high F above the staff, okay? The whole time when I was doing that, I was thinking about keeping my top teeth very firmly pressed down on the top, nice round embouchure, not moving my embouchure, not jutting my jaw forward, not tightening my throat or having any tension, okay, as I was playing that, and I kept my air moving the whole time when I was doing that, okay? So I'm gonna do that one more time, and see if you can think about, when you're playing, you want to think about those three things I just talked about, okay? So you should be able to get those notes if you just try not to get too much tension when you're playing. Just think ah and open. And remember, saxophone voicing, you know, is basically just changing your tongue position. So I always try to think about, how would I sing that note? If I was going to sing high and I wanted to get a good sound out, I would think about going he like that, or ha like that, making sure everything was staying nice and open and relaxed. I wouldn't go like that and stick my jaw forward or anything like that, and I wouldn't tighten up, okay? So you want to just think about that when you're playing. Just think about, how would I sing that, okay? Sometimes I tell students that, pretend you're an opera singer and you're singing this beautiful aria, you're singing a song, and it's very, very big and full, and you're just really, you know, keeping your stance and your posture and everything, and just try to play as if you were singing like that, okay? Because that will help you get rid of some of that tension, and then remember not to change anything, okay? So that's how you get those notes to come out, okay? So don't forget, don't tighten your embouchure, okay? Don't change your position. Keep your tongue position a little higher and keep that air moving. Really important. Air is everything. We want to keep that moving, okay? All right, well, good luck, and I will see you the next time.